Imposter syndrome can stop you from achieving everything that you want in life. You'll fail to make progress because you don't feel qualified to do the things that you want to do. But the truth is, that's completely normal. Feeling like an imposter is a sign of growth. And if you feel that way, you shouldn't beat yourself up. I remember when I first got my first job in digital marketing, when I transitioned from being a security guard to being an SEO strategist. And I was so nervous. And I was nervous because I was afraid. And I was afraid because this was something new that I was doing. And I didn't know if I was going to be good enough to keep the job. And ultimately, I just did it anyways. And eventually, the fear that I had went away when I started to realize that nobody knew what they were doing and everybody was just trying to figure it out the same way that I was, right? And so sometimes we create this fear for ourselves that doesn't even need to exist. But there's been multiple times in my life when I've had to deal with being an imposter. When I moved from New York to Pennsylvania, when I first came here, I felt like an imposter. I didn't know anybody here. I had to go meet new friends. And who wants to meet friends in their late 20s, right? It's not ideal. But the thing is that I'd rather put myself in uncomfortable situations than to be comfortable doing the same thing that I've been doing, because I know that if I just keep doing the thing that hasn't been causing me any pain, then I'm not going to grow. The path that usually causes the most growth is the path that usually causes the most pain, right? And it causes the most resistance. And it's because there's this idea of you in your head that you've created that you don't know how to escape. And you start to, again, create this like comfort trap for yourself, which is pretty ironic, right? And so, it's think of people who are in bad relationships, for example. They know that the relationship isn't good for them, but yet they stay in the relationship. And the reason why they stay is because they're comfortable. And they're also afraid of the unknown. They don't know if there is something that's out there that exists for them, or someone that's out there that exists for them. So they rather just deal with the issues that they're dealing with, right, within the relationship that's not healthy for them. Or the people who understand that they need to eat healthy in order to grow, but then they keep eating bad because it's easier to eat bad than it is to eat healthy. Maybe because eating healthier is more expensive, but it's also harder because you have less options to what you can eat. And, ultimately you do those two things and you keep progressing. You keep progressing in a negative way. You regress. You don't actually progress. And who wants to do that, right? So don't fall into the comfort trap. The reason why this ultimately happens is because we have to think about this deeply and really analyze the root of this stuff. You are someone who has existed for a long time. As you have continued to grow, you have taken all of the things that you've learned from previous people with you alongside your growth over the years. And you realize that as you continue to move forward towards this growth path that you're on, in order for you to reach the trajectory that you want to be on, you have to basically let go of some of the things that you've learned along the way. But the problem is that your ego has already created this idea of you, and it's hard for you to let it go because it literally within it, in of itself feels like you're breaking up with yourself. You're essentially killing who you used to be and becoming this new thing. And it's like you're still you, but you're emerging as a new being because you're growing, right? And it's just whenever you start to go down this path, it's much easier to just move towards the thing that you've been doing that you're already familiar with. And if you struggle to let go of yourself, then you won't be able to grow. It's almost as if your ego is more afraid to attend the funeral for the death of the old you than it is to watch the birth or watch the growth in the birth of the new you. And the more you continue to let that hold you back, again, the harder it's going to be for you to grow. And in life, every single thing that requires growth usually requires pain. And that's when I started to realize, for me personally, that I'm a writer at heart because I don't like to write. I don't like to read books, but I know that reading books are very important. the things that I don't like to do are the things that I decide to do because I know that those are the things that's going to cause the most growth for me. I mean, if you just look at other people around you, there's people who go to the gym all the time, and that's not hard for them, but maybe it's hard for you. But for them, it's easy. But then for you, doing business is easy, right? And then you're like, okay, well, why is this thing that's supposed to be infinitely harder easier for me, but this thing that's supposed to be infinitely easier for them? I mean, harder for me, right? And the reason why is because each individual person has a different path in life, and some things just come more naturally to us than to others. And that's why you have a friend that might be in great shape that goes to the gym and without breaking a sweat, well, not literally, but goes to the gym with no issues because that's just easy for them. So like, if you want to get the breakthrough that you want in life, you have to move towards the thing that is the hardest for you, the thing that causes the most resistance for you. And there's a quote that Jordan Peterson has that says, if you gaze into the abyss long enough, you start to see the light, not the darkness. And if you haven't seen the light yet, it's probably because you haven't been staring long enough into who you could become, into who you are to who you could become. Because you have to look through every aspect. You have to literally be laser focused and looking straight ahead through all of the bad things that exist within you until you can see the good things. But you cannot make the progress that you want until you first give yourself a chance, right? So the one thing you should know about imposter syndrome is that if you ever deal with it, you are on the right path. You are on a path of growth. So all you have to do is just continue walking down that path and you will grow. So thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you next one. Peace.